22, the Manly call Meathead, and Matthew Thomas, the M.O.T.S, the current reigning and defending PWR Fantasy Draft champion. Good morning, Matthew.
Yeah, the current reigning, defending, and kind of right now the caboose, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the caboose.
There's nothing wrong with a nice caboose, and we saw a lot of nice caboose last night in a pay-per-view. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, but because it's summertime, what are we wearing when we're outside in the summertime?
Well, I know you're not supposed to trust anybody, but a company that I trust with all my clothing wear is collarandelbowbrand.com. Enter promo code Linda K to save 10% off. And if you couldn't tell by what I just said, they recently dropped a Don't Trust Anybody shirt scent, and then they've got some
re-release, actually.
Oh, is it really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's an original collar and elbow, but now they're putting the CXE on the sleeves.
An old little redux, if you will. That's what all the cool kids say. They call it redux. I'm not sure if you're supposed to pronounce the X or not.
I'm going to be 50 this year, so I don't know if I'm one of the cool kids anymore.
Or maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe they need one that says just redux, but it's DUCKS, and it's collar and elbow and a bunch of ducks on it.
Howard Redux. There you go.
Or how about the duck from Duck Hunt, huh?
Yep, we could do that. That duck was pretty awesome. He wasn't really, but I mean,
Duck was cool. I didn't like that stupid dog.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to get into, and Matthew, we always have our little pre-show. Hey, here's what we're gonna do, and you probably assumed because we didn't bring up anything else that it was all gonna be pay-per-view from last night. We've got to talk about this, and I don't want to bury the lead here, which was the pay-per-view last night, but we got to talk CM Punk stuff from Friday night's Rampage, which was live in Ontario, California. Goodness.
This is going to be an injury-filled show.
It is. CM Punk has said that he's working with broken wheels, and CM Punk is not relinquishing the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. He is going to have to step back. AEW, in all their glory, again, immediately addresses it, and what they're going to do is they're going to set up a tournament. This Wednesday night on Dynamite, we are going to have a number one contender type of match. First off, the number one contender for the men's singles is Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley will be in the main event of Dynamite. Jon Moxley will take on the winner of the Battle Royal that will kick off Dynamite Wednesday night, and the winner of that will go to the pay-per-view at Forbidden Door in Chicago, where they were last night for Hell in a Cell. We'll go to the Forbidden Door pay-per-view at the United Center to take on someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Was it Kushida? I mean, Tanahashi, I think it was, that they're taking on. I'll have to go and get the details of that. Again, AEW has got all the details at allelitewrestling.com, but big news coming out of Rampage last Friday.
Oh my goodness! I was watching Rampage a little bit later, so I saw the news coverage of it actually.
By the way, it's Hiroshi Tanahashi.
There you go. Yeah, man, it's sad to see. I mean, Punk was certainly shooken up by it, and I will give AEW credit. This is another win for their ranking system. I mean, you've got somebody who is a number one contender. So, we don't have to have a big old tournament. We know who that number one contender is. So go ahead, throw him in. And yeah, some switches are going to have to be made. The number one
contender is not being handed the belt. And I mistakenly said that Tanahashi is instantly going to the pay-per-view. Tanahashi is wrestling in a number one contenders match against Hiroki Goto at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion event, which will be on, it looks like, June 12th.
Wow.
It's kind of convoluted, but I love it better than just some random ass tournament, right?
No,
so
absolutely.
At New Japan Wrestling's event Dominion on June 12th, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroko Goto will face off in an eliminator match for the interim AEW World Championship. The winner advances to Forbidden Door on June 26th. This Wednesday on Dynamite, Jon Moxley is the number one contender, and he will take on the winner of the Battle Royal that'll kick off Dynamite. And then that person advances to Forbidden Door on June 26th. On June 26th, there will be a match. So that winner will be crowned interim AEW World Champion.
I'll tell you what, man. June has got this June-July period in professional wrestling. There's a lot going on.
Holy smokes. Now, it has been confirmed that CM Punk will get a title shot when he is physically ready to compete. The real AEW World Champion and the interim World Champion will compete. Now, for the love of God, if I see 2 World Championship belts going around for 6 months after that, I'm going to be really pissed off.
You know what? I'm okay with the 2 going around, and I want them just to take it to another level and somehow get a 3rd one in there. I want all these little spin-off, like I want them to procreate.
They've already had 3 belts with the TNT Championship because the one that Scorpio Sky is walking around with his Lakers colors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Belt reproduction. I think that's what AEW has going. That
we need belt contraception is what we need. All right. So big time news coming out of AEW, and one more story that again we did not really talk about, but I forgot to bring up. Bryan Danielson's hurt, and apparently he can't fly, and he might be out for a few weeks.
Oh my goodness, that's actually news to me, man. You're finding out Matthew Thomas's reaction in real time. Wow, this is an injury-filled show. There is no doubt about that. Everybody's getting hurt.
Danielson was forced to miss a meet and greet, looks like on Friday, because he could not fly due to an undisclosed injury. The meet and greet had been located in Bedford, Massachusetts. It is said that it's nothing serious, and he should be out between 1 to 2 weeks. I believe that it happened during the Anarchy in the Arena match at AEW Double or Nothing. So
yeah, and
honestly, it could be part of him getting stuck in between that stupid ramp.
Yeah. But he did prevent someone from getting burned alive in that match. So you gotta give him credit for that.
Those shots between Kingston and Danielson, those were live rounds, man.
Yeah,
they were popping each other.
Absolutely. All
right. You ready to talk one more injury as we get into Hell in a Cell from last night?
Absolutely.
Okay. There was thought that Cody and Seth had hurt each other in Monday's pull-aparts that they had on the go-home show to Hell in a Cell. But this last Friday, Cody Rhodes has said to have torn his pec completely off the bone. Cody Rhodes performed last night. And for those of you that haven't seen the pay-per-view yet, or the premium live event, but if you haven't seen the show yet, that was gross.
Yeah.
Half of Cody's body was purple. As a person who just went through something on his right shoulder and had gone through all the rehab and what have you, having a complete shoulder replacement, I cannot imagine walking out there moving my arm, let alone doing the Hell in a Cell match that he did last night. Matthew, before we get into the wins and losses of what happened at the pay-per-view last night, what the F are they thinking? Let's go down 2 paths, and I know that you already said this, but I'm going to set you up. If it's work, what the F? If it's a shoot, what the F?
So I found out about it initially via a WWE news article. And with that being the source, I'm assuming that it's storyline based. I had not, I was busy this weekend. I didn't have time to get entangled in the dirty sheets like a true professional wrestling journalist should.
Ooh, and I like those dirty sheets.
That's my loss there. But, I saw the news article, didn't think much of it. And was watching the pay-per-view, and I saw the reveal. And when I initially saw it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is, some very well-done stage makeup, because there's no way in the world, WWE, a professionally traded company, there's no way in the world that anything in my mind outside of a freaking a lower tier promotion would let somebody get in the ring like this. Cody with his stroke in AEW, maybe something reckless like this, could potentially happen. I mean, the dude did set himself on fire. That's one thing. But main event of a WWE pay-per-view, Vince McMahon's publicly traded company, there is no way in the world they are letting someone perform in this capacity. So I get through most of the match, and then as the match goes on, I'm seeing Cody. I mean, they're not taking it easy on this. They are working the torn pec. He's leaning into the stare shot by Rollins with the pec. And then I start doing a little bit more digging around online and reading some reports and this, that, and the other. And it's like, my goodness, this is actually being reported as if he's got a legitimate injury here. I mean, if it was a work, then it's just so over the top, unneeded. If it's not a work, this is absolutely reckless. And I am just amazed that WWE would let him go out there in this capacity, because it serves absolutely no purpose to endanger him like this.
I got to ask this out loud one more time. Why? Why do you have to do that? We don't need it.
Yeah.
Don't want it, don't need it. I don't need to have you, again, light yourself on fire, put yourself through tables, do all this. You know what? And it's not like Cody was working away from it. It's not like Seth was working away from
no.
the injury. I mean, Seth went right to it, attacked at that spot.
Let me go back to something else too. And again, I know the consensus seems to be this is legit. The thing of it is, though, what also entered my head when I first saw this is the week. What is the news? What's the news cycle talking about? What is the biggest story pre-Punk dropping the title in professional wrestling? It's the MJF work shoot angle with AEW. And I'm viewing this as it's happening is, okay, this is WWE trying to utilize Cody in a similar fashion to get the news cycle to flip back to WWE. That was my initial interpretation of it. As we're getting away from it, I'm looking at it less and less in that prism. But yeah, my goodness, like I can't make a case for it in any capacity.
We're going to get back to that in a second here. Let's start off with the pay-per-view proper. Triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defeats Asuka and Becky Lynch in about a 20-minute match. You know what? A lot of great spots in this. I didn't think it was going to come out any other way. Bianca Belair wins and retains.
To me, this was the match of the night. I think they put together a very, very, probably one of the best women's or overall best triple threats that I've seen in recent memory. Psychology was on point here. It never devolved into one person MIA while the two people are working. When you did get that one person out of the ring, it was done deliberately. That was the spot we saw deliberately throughout the match. Becky was always trying to throw the other competitor out of the ring to get the other person isolated. And we saw it in the finish where basically Becky hit her move and Bianca did the same exact thing. I thought the psychology, the booking here was great. It managed to make Becky look strong because it was her finisher, that did it in. Really, really solid match. And I want to especially give credit to Bianca Belair here. I seem to notice her act as a ring general much more in this match than I've seen in any previous Bianca Belair match. She looked like she was kind of leading that triple threat there. So great performances from everybody involved, and match of the night for me.
I'm not a Bianca Belair person, but I can't help but respect what she did. Yeah. Again, she's a great performer. Everybody loves her. It's not my kind of character. It's not a character for me. However, she looked amazing and she worked amazing. I thought all three women looked great and did a great job. So, Matthew, I know you're into diss tracks, right? Like rap videos that are dissing other people.
Oh yeah, I've got to listen to the Macho Man Randy Savage diss track on Hogan, every now and then to kind of get wound up. It's what I work out to.
My favorite one was Disco mocking the Conan rap video.
Ooh.
Go back,
that is a classic.
There's the MVP and Omos rap video, and it's leading us into the 2-on-1 handicap match. Bobby Lashley defeating Omos and MVP in about 10 minutes time. Again, this had to go the way it had to go. This was set up earlier by Cedric Alexander telling MVP, I'm there for you if you need. And MVP kind of punking him out too. So what you get is Cedric Alexander causing distraction for Omos, Bobby getting a win. Later on, you're going to see that Bobby says, stay out of my match. However, you know what, kid? Thanks for trying to do your own thing. We're good.
Yeah, this was the most over that I have seen Bobby maybe during his run of the last couple of years. Chicago absolutely loved Bobby, and it was great to see because Bobby, after dropping the title, has gone down towards the middle of the card to, work this program with Omos. And it's really good to see him getting it seemed like it was a lot of pent up love from Chicago that had maybe been building up, since his whole.
Well, it's not
title
like
run.
they can. I was going to say it's not like they can give that love to the Bears. I mean, when was the last time the Bears won anything?
So all that pent up Chicago love went to
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley. And
Yep.
my goodness, I think we might be, speaking of love and pent up and everything, and we'll talk about seed now. I think we're potentially getting the seeds planted for the return of the Hurt Business as a babyface stable. And my goodness, you need to pull the trigger on that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think Kevin Owens could beat Elias? Because he beat Ezekiel.
You know what? It's Elias is his older brother, so you would think that Elias is a little bit more seasoned and a little bit more,
Worldly traveled.
Yes, worldly was what I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't think of worldly. Speaking of words, I played that Wordle game for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, I didn't think it was me, but my goodness, man. That's why I couldn't think of the word wordly, because I just put it out of my mind.
I thought it was a good match, and you know what? Kevin Owens keeps carrying this by yelling, "It's Elias! I'm telling you, that's Elias!" He keeps carrying it. He ended up getting the Stone Cold Stunner, or the Stunner, whatever it is, but yelling out Elias Stunner. That works for me.
And I like the fact that Owens went over clean here.
All right. So we've been getting the promo packages all night long. We're gonna get this Seth Rollins Cody Rhodes match, and the commentators feel like they had to keep defending Seth Rollins, saying, "By the way, Seth Rollins did not injure Cody Rhodes." Why is that important?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, 6-person intergender match. The Judgment Day. Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Edge get the win over AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan. You know what? This is exactly the way this match should have gone too. I thought it was very entertaining. I was worried that they did the girls first, and then you had the men, tagging in and out. But then there was hot tags to each of the women again, so it was another section for the women to go, and it went another 5 or 6 minutes after that. So this ended up being a great match. The finish showing Rhea Ripley standing over the body of Edge, stopping Finn from doing the move. Once she got pulled out of the way by Liv, Edge rolls out, hits a spear for the victory.
Yeah, I thought this was exactly what it needed to be. This was the right team that needed to go over here. Judgment Day is a very significant stable, and they need to be pushed appropriately.
I love the new ring gear for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. You wouldn't have known this because she always had the pants on, right? She has tats up and down the legs too that match the whole feel of the Judgment Day.
Yeah, no, a really good look, and a really good.
The color scheme was on point too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that she was also wearing the purple and black?
Yeah, without a doubt, I thought it looked solid.
Picked up right before the show started, the newest member of the team they call Meatheads, also with M's, Madcap Moss, gets a victory over Happy Corbin. This was a specialty type match, Matthew, because there was physicality in this, with chairs, with tables, with ring steps. Holy smokes, it got brutal at the end.
To me, this match over-delivered more so than any match in the card.
Over-delivered is the best word.
I thought they put on a great match here, and it's really easy to sleep on, unfortunately, anything with Corbin in it. I love when Corbin lost his money in that character, but it's really easy to sleep on the actual in-ring work of any Corbin feuds in the last year, because I think a lot of this stuff gets.
Let's go back about the last 3-4 years. Remember, before Roman Reigns went away with the leukemia scare and the COVID era, Corbin and Roman Reigns had a good 4 or 5 month program going on.
Yeah, and Baron Corbin is a great in-ring worker. And this goes back a ways, but I really think he is one of the first homegrown NXT talents, basically build them up from scratch this guy's coming from football. He's not coming from an indie career. Let's get a guy. Let's train him.
Well, not just football. He was a bare knuckle champion too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's train him in the WWE system in developmental and put him out there. And I think he is probably the really big first success story they had doing that. On the NXT brand. And it's been good to see him, get the consistent recognition, up top that he deserves. I think he could be slated as a much more of a threat, of a much more serious character. But I think, like we see with so many people, he does his role so, substantially.
He does whatever is handed to him.
Exactly. That, I think that there's not necessarily a need of that in a lot of circumstances, but this was an absolutely very, very physical match and a great performance by both talents.
Hey, let's talk about the re-debut, the re-character introduction of Madcap Moss when he came out of the ambulance on SmackDown. The suspender pants are gone. This dude looks like a legitimate badass guy. Now, he does look like a creative wrestler type because there's nothing unique standing out about him. But then that makes you focus on like his physical appearance. This dude's legit.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad they hit the reset button there because you need to kind of break away from the jester character that we saw, with Corbin. And that's exactly what they're doing here. And with the finish of this, hopefully he puts that Corbin feud in his rearview mirror and we can see what's next for him. I imagine, this could be one of those guys you actually get in Money in the Bank this year.
Yeah, absolutely. United States champion Austin Theory, otherwise known as Theory, defeats Mustafa Ali in his Chicago hometown to retain the United States championship. You know what? There was some small moments. I thought maybe, just maybe, Ali wins this, and Chicago was all behind Ali.
Yeah, and definitely a very, very Ali pro Ali crowd here. And you made a good point, Meathead. Since this is a hometown match, that qualifies this as a specialty match, correct?
Get out of here with that. It was not, but it was a title defense for Austin Theory, now known as Theory. The main event. Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. It went for about 25 minutes. Matthew, I think I sent a message to you, a text message said, I'm not into S&M. For those that don't know.
And I just thought that was just a random Meathead fact of the day. Like we used to get random Matt Hardy facts. It's like, that's what we're going to lead with, talking about.
And especially because you never asked for it. I just sent it. I'm not into this. If this is legitimate and he's really hurt, dude, what the hell are you thinking, man? Don't take the match. I understand that this is the opportunity and the run of your life. You are probably slated to win Money in the Bank. You need to stop. Let me finish this run here, if you don't mind. He needs to stop. If it's legitimate and he won his match, he needs to stop, go get the surgery, go ice down. Even if it means that he comes back at Money in the Bank and sneaks up the ladder and takes it, then go get the surgery, hold the briefcase till WrestleMania, do whatever you got to do. But it's not worth what you're doing. They love you. There's a spot here for you. You earned it. It'll be here when you get back.
Absolutely. And I think that's the sentiment with a lot of professional wrestling fans because, and I can't speak for everybody, but generally you gravitate towards this because it's an athletic performance. And a lot of us just don't really like a situation where you're seeing people, shoot getting hurt. And when this thing starts off with somebody who, assuming this is what it appears to be, somebody who is getting hurt and then taking abuse into that, I have a hard time.
And giving himself abuse.
I have a hard time believing they would sign off on this, man. Like, I'm really curious to see what news develops in the next few days because I am absolutely shocked that this is a company that for over a decade now they've had stringent policies on blading. You're not going to cut your forehead, but we're going to send somebody out there with a torn pec and to take absolute abuse in that thing to work a match, and that's the thing that got me with this.
This wasn't a normal match. This was supposed to be the most brutal Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just it's either way you cut it, either of the two options that we discussed at the beginning of the show, I don't think there's no way you can explain this correctly where it seems like it's a smart move for any parties involved.
The winner of the match, Cody Rhodes. Like I said, you know what? We did not. Again, we're recording this, folks. I'm going to pull the curtain back here. We're recording this right after Hell in a Cell last night. So while the video might be out there now of Cody talking to the crowd after the pay-per-view, or the news might be out there now, we don't have it as of this recording. Yeah. So let's talk about the pay-per-view and the points that were accumulated over the weekend. Matthew Thomas, we still have the PWR Fantasy Draft for the 22-23 season. Now, last week at AEW's Double or Nothing, the man they call Meathead scored 630 points to jump right out in front of the lead. As of Saturday's pay-per-view, the In Your House NXT Braun Breaker retaining, by the way, and Cameron Grimes lost his belt to Carmelo Hayes, a now two-time NXT champion. After that pay-per-view, I had scored 65 points for a Braun Breaker retain. I dropped Braun Breaker right after the match, and I picked up Madcap Moss. So, losing those 25, I really only scored 40 on Saturday. Now on Sunday, Matthew Thomas, you led the pay-per-view with 240 points. I scored 205. Linda Kay had 185 as she dropped CM Punk to pick up M.O.T.S, unfortunately on the losing end in that match, but she scored more points. The new totals brought to you by the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe. The man they call Meathead leads with 910 points. Linda Kay in second place with 745. And Matthew, you bringing up the rear at 615. Your thoughts on 2 weeks worth of point qualifying events?
Hey, you know what? There's a lot of jockeying for position, and that's exactly what's going on here. You know, and I do kind of doing it on purpose because I like for everybody to have a turn, and you know, everybody to get to wear the crown for a little while, and you know, get all the warm and fuzzies and everything. But just so you know, I've got everybody exactly where I want them, and there might actually have to be some wheeling and dealing on my end because there's a lot of interesting possibilities right around the corner. And, you know, I got to decide if I'm going to just kind of keep playing my long game or, you know, see exactly what I want to do here.
For those of us that have AEW talents, because you said you jumped in the AEW pool this year, there's an additional 5th AEW pay-per-view that is now confirmed. It's Forbidden Door in about 2 to 3 weeks in June. So those are double points at AEW.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, man, I might have to go just a completely, complete
and your
Japan
AEW
roster.
Your AEW talent basically says, if you want my spot, you can have it because I don't want to be here anymore.
Which makes him the most talked about wrestler in the world right now. Who's on Team Nelson Mandela? Did I tell you he was going to have a big year or what?
Yeah, but how many points does that get you? None.
Potential points.
Well, we potentially are going to keep talking, but unfortunately, we're going to finish for the morning. So, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Now, for the next 2 days, I hope you're not going to miss my voice, as you're going to have Matthew Thomas and Linda Kay. Actually, no, wait. Tomorrow, I think it's you and me, and then Linda and you for the next 2 after that, huh? Oh, my God, you're getting too much Matthew again this week.
Oh, you're going to get a week full of Matthew. Oh, yeah, a Matthew-centric week, if you will.
Gotcha. All right. For Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. So long, everyone.